Starting off the animation with an action scene, especially one like this, is an effective way to hook the audience. I especially like how the camera movements in the first shot imply that we are seeing this fight from the perspective of the cowering warrior in the second shot. This directly places the viewers in the shoes of the combatant in the arena. Zillion's mastery of facial expressions and body language helps say a lot about the characters in this scene despite the lack of dialogue. You can tell they're both allied to each other in some capacity, or at the very least that they have some sort of mutual understanding. Furthermore, with this character, their aloof personality is made apparent by their expressions and the unique choice Zillion made of animating their mouth in a visibly goofier way compared to the squared media standard. These two come up multiple times in the animation, so let's just call them Green Eyes and Squiggle Mouth respectively, since I don't think their names are ever stated, and you cannot tell me those nicknames do not fit. This is a cool shot, made cooler by the particle effects. The cut to black here is exactly the right way to build suspense after such a well done opening sequence. I love the goofy way Derp shows up in this shot. This would look very awkward if it was any other character, but for Derp, it just works. Zillion is always a win. It's pretty cute that the other characters in the animation besides Derp and his fish aren't even listed here, instead being called extras. It's like Zillion's way of saying Derp is the core of the story, and the others are basically supplemental at most. Or maybe it's a self-aware meta joke about how the audience are mostly watching for Derp. Either way, it's worth a win. Absolutely in character for Derp to be scared to hell and back by a skeleton. Yep, that's a typo alright. But oh well, the message is still intriguing for the viewers. This wide shot perfectly encapsulates the scale of the desert, and in turn the scale of the hopelessness Derp must be feeling right now. I like how the walk cycle of Zillion's character is almost like that of a zombie, implying how famished and weak he is. His eye bags in this scene also serve as a good visual indicator of his exhaustion. This man just tried to eat a raw fish alive. That's how you know he's desperate. The posing, expressions, and character motion for the sequence was just mwah, chef's kiss. This is some of the closest I've felt to watching a slapstick cartoon during a Minecraft animation. I'm giving this 5 wins on a silver platter. The way Derp cautiously approaches Zillion's character is just so perfect. This genuinely caught me off guard on my first watch, and I knew the animation was going to be about them getting captured and sent to the arena. Well done. Absolutely love that the fish stayed awake this whole time. Never, ever forget about the fish if you're a squared media villain. Alright, let's count the weapons here and assign a win for each one, because these designs are awesome! Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, I'm losing count. There's just so many amazing looking weapons. Let's just go with 13. Subtle moments like this one character flicking their pupils to the side add an extra layer of detail to the animation. In this case, they help reinforce the air of confusion in the scene, as all these people are waking up with no idea where they are. That eye twitch. Okay, now that's a dope shot. Also, here's an additional win for an effective use of depth of field. Sometimes it's great to ease into fights, but I think in this situation, Zillion choosing to start the fight rather erratically with a sudden strike at Derp from his opponent was the right call. It really catches the viewer off guard from the beginning and brings them to the edge of their seat. Yeah, I don't need to explain why that went hard, do I? Also, way to establish these mummies as a huge threat early on. I don't know if a blade being knocked out of the way by another blade is actually a named trope, but either way, I'm a sucker for it. I like how Derp looks terrified, but Zillion's character just looks done with everything. Now that's a killer swing, literally. Cool design for the villain overseeing the area. I'll just call him the Overseer, I guess. Also, following up the dramatic fight scene with a moment of near total silence to give the viewer time to gather their thoughts. Here we have a fairly appropriate amount of levity after the carnage we just watched. I love the way Zillion's character is animated in this scene. Never before has a Minecraft character looked so stoned. I mean, if he's canonically an animator like the real Zillion, I'm sure he's taking some serious stuff to keep himself awake. We all know how the job is. This is the first time I've ever seen anyone at Squared Media dare to show a character's tongue, and it's shockingly endearing. As it happens, things just work out when you're doing a funny anime pose. Once again, this is what we in the business call communicating tone greatly using body language. A lot of these comedic moments just wouldn't hit the same without it. I love how empty and desolate this wide shot is. It's truly atmospheric. The illustration in this book serves as a pretty effective visual indicator to the audience about the tournament system going on in the arena. Before this point, one could have thought the fights were held at random, so this is a welcome clarification. Yet more crucial information communicated by body language. We now know Zillion's character and Green Eyes have some sort of connection to each other, probably a friendship. Cleverly executed non-linear storytelling is always a win. Come on, I'm a Knives Out fan, I have to praise this. This expression is always funny whenever Squared Media animators pull it off. Nice sudden cut, really adds to the abrupt feeling you get when the ceiling caves in. Zillion's character may be a badass, but even he knows when a fistfight isn't a good idea, and you can see it in his face. I'm glad this section of the animation was put in. It helps the viewer understand how Zillion's character and Green Eyes got into this situation to begin with. Zillion could easily have chosen not to address that, but the result wouldn't have been nearly as good, so I'll dish out 10 whole wins. Now that's how you tease a major threat. There are a surprising and frankly refreshing amount of background details in the way all these characters are animated. Zillion really didn't need to do that for a shot this short, but I appreciate the extra work. Pretty solid climbing animation, which is nice to see, as that's usually an area where Squared Media tends to falter. Now that Zillion's character is well rested, you can tell by his lack of eye bags and by his body language that he's much more ready for what comes next than before. Really cool the animators to imply that our protagonists are actively studying the other combatants in the arena on the grounds that they'll likely have to fight them in the future. Absolutely brutal double attack. You can tell right off the bat that this armored character is a huge deal. You can take 5 wins for this one, Zillion. The fighting style for Zillion's character is probably one of the coolest I've ever seen in a Minecraft animation. The constant swinging of his weapon and his acrobatic prowess are really something when combined. 5 wins again. I know this might come off to some viewers as excessive, but so is the cool stuff in this animation, so don't tell me I'm taking this too far. I won't listen. I don't know when to stop. I don't know what song this is, but it slaps. Easily one of the best Zillion could have possibly gone with to match the moment. Beyond how incredible the fight choreography is in this scene, I think we ought to appreciate how Zillion cuts between the different fights in a way that almost appears perfectly seamless. Sickest transition I've seen in a while. 5 wins, again. This is some amazing camera work. I really love how the camera follows Derp's opponent as they strafe toward him, then swings around in sync with the motion of their weapon until it reaches the shield and we see the collision itself. It's always undeniably cool when someone throws their weapon in the air and catches it with a perfectly timed motion. My favorite part about this fight is how Derp almost wins by straight up winging the duel. His combat style is largely defensive and reactive, seeing as he's frightened and flighty with his motions. His opponent, meanwhile, is much more aggressive, allowing them to lose sight of their awareness a little, and in turn letting Derp's quick thinking catch them off guard. Wouldn't it be really cool if I doled out 5 wins again? Who am I kidding? Of course I'm going to. Obviously, Derp's not going to kill anyone, especially not after winning a fair fight. This animation doesn't fail to remind you of his kind nature. This casual moment of body language communication between these two at the table goes a long way in showing how friendly they are with each other, even when once more no dialogue is used even once. I love how Derp and Zillion's character have evidently started to bond. In the beginning, there was a bit of mutual distrust between them, but now we can see they've grown to appreciate each other after going through this situation together. Squigglemouth did not have to do any of that, but they are so valid for doing it anyway. Oh, what's on the paper Green Eyes just gave to Zillion's character? Well, it's ideal that the audience doesn't know just yet for the sake of building suspense, but even without a direct answer at the moment, this is a good follow-up to the opening scene. As that scene already implies, Green Eyes has been coordinating with other combatants like Squigglemouth to gain some sort of valuable insight. Well, that's one way of introducing stakes by showing a clear consequence for losing one too many of these battles. Wow, even the in-universe audience is concerned at how easily these warriors are falling to the armored character. What a menace. Derp seems much more alert and attentive in this fight compared to his previous, which makes sense considering he's been in the arena for longer and has had an opportunity to get used to its atmosphere. Zillion's character definitely has the coolest fighting style in the animation, but I'd say Squigglemouth's is a close second. Yep, that is one of the most derp ways you could ever win a fight. Those who pay close attention in this scene will notice that Green Eyes deliberately drops their weapon before reaching Squigglemouth. This possibly implies that they're trying to lose on purpose, or rather staging their own defeat. Clever. Badass, morally ambiguous girl? Well, she seems like she's helping the protagonist, so let's say badass, good enough girl. Yeah, Green Eyes knows exactly what they're doing. I do love when characters are simultaneously really cool and really silly. The more subtle facial movements in this scene do well to convey Zillion's character as being deep in thought, likely pondering the information shared to him earlier by Green Eyes. This moment when the audience realizes Zillion's character and the armored warrior will be fighting builds a lot of tension, especially after all the buildup we've seen so far about how powerful the latter really is. Oh well, I'll admit this was a lot less complicated than I thought it was gonna be, but I guess a Let's Escape message works as a motivational prompt at least. Green Eyes, you are one smart fella. This wink is much more impactful after we've seen Zillion's character bond with Derp throughout their time in the arena. One of my favorite things in animated duels is the contrast between styles of fighting, and here we see a brilliant contrast between the brute force of our antagonist and the more flexible, agile nature of Zillion's character. This right here is a look that says, "Show me your worst." Yeah, that's probably one of the most hype moments in the whole animation. This man just spun around in the air and landed 4 consecutive attacks before even hitting the ground. That's wild. That's bonkers. Are you seeing this? You know what? 4 wins, 1 for each of those attacks. It's not 5 this time. See? I have restraint. This fight is really making you believe Zillion's character is going to come out on top. Can't help but wonder if this'll age poorly. Just by this overseer shaking their head, we immediately get more insight into what's going on here. It's implied that this armored warrior is probably a champion of sorts the overseer has great faith in, hence why they're disappointed seeing them being forced to go on the defensive this hard. Absolutely perfect opportunity for a slow-mo shot. No notes. Now that's genuinely soul-crushing. What a jerk! It takes a lot to push Derp to his limit like this. When he's angry at you, you know you messed up. Okay, now that's a clean cut. Even when Squigglemouth is about to kick your butt, they're gonna be really friendly about it. What a way to establish how much of a threat Squigglemouth is right out the gate. They're moving so fast, Derp can barely even react. I felt that kick personally. The fact that Squigglemouth has their back turned on Derp and doesn't even whirl around to block his strike until the last moment shows you just how above his skill level they must be to be so confident about this fight. I felt that kick too. Derp's desperation can really be felt here. He's totally getting his crap rocked right now and is barely even able to fight back. Again, Squigglemouth is so playing around with him. What we just witnessed is, of course, very funny, but it's also a clever way of allowing Derp to win the fight without nerfing the character consistently shown to be one of the most skilled warriors in the arena. Man, the Overseer is not having a good day today. This character dynamic has existed for all of 10 seconds, and it's already great. Ah, so that's where Green Eyes has been. Nice of the animation to show us they've been making steady progress in their plan. I like how Derp is looking out the gap in the wall at the Overseer, as if he's coming to understand that they are the true enemy, not any of the people he's directly fighting in the arena. Derp walking out into the arena with a bunch of weapons in his hands that he's struggling to carry is a huge suspense mine. I know it's Derp, but even he's gotta be planning something if this is what he's resorting to. Talk about some great camera movement. Here we get a sense of Derp using the environment around him to his advantage and coming up with unconventional strategies to beat a warrior much more skilled than he is. Planting the sword into the wall and temporarily pinning the armored warrior's chain with it is, frankly, genius. So is throwing the shield as a distraction and then landing a lucky hit, for that matter. Obviously, littering the ground with a ton of different weapons for him to pick up as backups is also pretty smart. I like how the fight is interspersed with these clips from the perspective of other characters like Green Eyes. It fits well with the music and with the sensation of a climax that the animation has built up to so far. That is the face of someone truly proud. By waving at the armored warrior, Derp seems to be goading them into aggression so they can be blinded by rage and caught off guard by his tactics. Also smart. Yeah, he's taunting the hell out of this poor antagonist. Obviously, this is far from a one-sided fight, and we can tell from Derp's facial expression that he's still scared, which is of course a nice detail to help keep the stakes intact. Tripping the armored warrior with their own chain and then smacking them with their own hammer? That's incredible and so quintessentially Derp. The catharsis of this moment, especially since he's avenging the defeat of Zillion's character in the process, deserves at least 10 wins. I absolutely love how frantic this part is. Really gives you a desperate escape vibe. The Overseer doesn't even seem bothered, as if they know damn well there's a failsafe in place for something like this, which there is. Those are some well-animated mummies, that's for sure. Incredible one-shot sequence with the moving camera. Not a single note. These water effects aren't half bad. Gotta love that look of defiance. And what a perfect wide shot to end on. Well, in conclusion, there's not really an easy way of saying it. This is, pretty undoubtedly, the best squared media animation to come out in a while, at least in my opinion. The animation is fluid, the characters are enjoyable to watch, the camera work is fantastic, emotions and information are very well communicated overall via body language and character animation, the music is well integrated, the set design is great, and of course, the fights are a whole new level of awesome, even by Zillion standards. This is one of the greats when it comes to fight-focused Minecraft animations, and to celebrate that, we may as well do something special. In previous videos, we've done awesome lighting bonus rounds, but this time we're gonna do an awesome fight scene bonus round. Without further ado, let's do this. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what to say. This is obviously the most wins we've ever given in any video, but not only that, Desert Arena Survival has also beaten the second most winned animation on this channel by a factor of over 100. Believe me, I checked. The longtime champion before this point was Fly Again by Enchanted Mob, which was granted 3,920 wins. That is wild, but I can't say it isn't deserved. Zillion, if you're watching, congrats dude, you earned it. As for the rest of you, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.